Please join me in welcoming Vincent BONNEAU, Head of Innovation for IDATE. Good morning to you, Vincent.
Good morning, Marjorie. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all.
So, it's an assessment. Trust is an opportunity. That's a good news. Now, we're going to tackle the economic value of trust. And I want an IDATE insight about it, of course. First, what the value of trust when it comes to customers?
Well, so everyone want to talk about money. So, but first, do you love math?
Well, I'm not really that, kind
really?
of. I'm not a math girl, but
on.
I can do the math.
I'm sure you
with
still love
if
it,
you will.
really.
Okay.
So,
Let's try
I mean,
it.
to make it simple for everybody, in fact, I'm going to give you the answer to the value of trust with a formula. So that's it. This is my takeaway. I can leave the stage. It's really better for me. Thank you, everyone.
I'd rather have you still on stage because I barely understand it. I don't know if you do, guys.
Really? I mean, so T is for trust. And the key parameter we're going to see is for data sharing, okay?
There you go.
I'm going to walk you through the formula to explain. But you can see we have two major ways to make money from trust. B2C, I'm talking only about consumer markets here, okay? So B2C, paid by the end user somehow, and B2B2C.
So what about we first deep dive into B2C?
Okay, so the key thing is the circle of trust. I mean, you're in my circle of trust.
Do I?
But many providers are not, and it's less and less the case. I mean, when we see it through surveys and so on, the trust level is decreasing over time for every type of service. I mean, every type of service, despite the usage is still increasing. And there's even a question of the more you share the data, in fact, the less you trust. I mean, it seems to be the case. I mean, people share more and more with app developers and social network, and still, it's not here. Then it's obviously a question of money. Do I pay for trust? Well.
Interesting question.
Many people want to pay for trust, not really. And if they pay, it's quite low. But they pay indirectly because they love the service. So freemium services, indirect revenues are quite limited, but still. And then there's the platform effect, the recommendation. You like that product, you've bought that one, I mean, you may buy another one and so on. So that works indirectly. You don't pay directly for trust. We don't believe people are going to pay a lot for trust. I mean, the survey here is 35%. I mean, we've heard yesterday about University of Cambridge with 27%, but on that kind of survey, you take the number, you divide by 3, and you have something that is more realistic on what's going to happen.
If I do hear you well, loud and clear, there is not much to expect directly from the consumers when it comes to trust.
A little bit. I mean, still, we've seen yesterday with the BlaBlaCar example, but really, I mean, with all of the data that is captured, there is the inconvenient truth, the inconvenient trust, I mean, whatever. With all of that data, the delta is really the balance between do I monetize or how far I go because of the privacy issue. And we've seen very different models with the use of trust and the use of data shared. First thing is ad networks and targeting, massive use of the data, very personal, and still, I mean, for plenty of people, this is working well, with especially new technologies developing with real-time bidding and so on. Second level, you use a lot of data, but it's more aggregated, so it's not as privacy non-friendly, let's say, with plenty of players providing insights. So it's data patterns on the aggregation of the data. It can be used by your social tweets, your likes and so on, but also through your location on the mobile phone and so on. And this is developing quite a lot, and we may hear about that with Telefonica after. And then finally, you use less data with total user consent, case by case. So it's small data, but high value with third parties, banking, identity, authentication, and plenty of forms of APIs that are being developed.
Okay. Wow. I'm trying to remember my math lessons. And if I do come back to your formula, we should be able to calculate a derivative or an optimum from it?
Yeah, that's true. And in many, many cases, in fact, if we calculate, we're going to come to the data sharing level should be infinite. I mean, in addition, this equation, I mean, to make it simple, is in fact multidimensional. And in fact, you should multiply all of the value by themselves. So the more there is data, the more that formula should increase the revenues. So what we can expect is that many people are going to try to have more data to target and put in place the strategy to make sure they get more data. So internal reputation system to lock in a little bit the user, investment in data protection and encryption. Cooperation might be limited with authorities, I mean, as we've seen in many cases, and obviously proprietary data technologies and format, despite projects about data portability and so on, there's always a little tweak. We change the formula. So we can expect people to try to focus on that. Which is coming to my final word about, I mean, is trust, as in confidence, going to lead to trust as in competition? I mean, you should notice that, in fact, it's the same word in English. There may be a reason.
Which one?
I don't know. Let's hear from plenty of players, and especially from ARCEP later on trust and antitrust.
That will definitely be a question to Françoise BONNEAU in a few minutes on this stage. Thank you so much, Vincent.
Thank you.